Thank you very much, and thank you, Yolanda, for that generous introduction. I want to first thank all of the organizers and sponsors of CCSIP and McGill University for hosting us today, and all the representatives of the Canadian government and academia, as well as my Californian colleagues for bringing us all together for this vitally important summit. And I first want to extend to you the greetings and good wishes of the Speaker of the State Assembly, Karen Bass, who I'm representing here today, as well as my 79 other colleagues in the State Assembly. This is a summit that was of great importance to the Speaker and to many of us in the legislature, so much so that although I am standing for re-election in 8 days, as well as the rest of my colleagues, we felt that it was important because of the great value of the California-Canadian relationship to be here and to be participating and to be actively involved as members of the legislature. As Yolanda said, I've been in the legislature now I'm finishing up my first term of 2 years, which by California standards makes me a seasoned veteran. As some of you may know, you might have heard me mention last night that the California State Assembly has a term limit of 3 2-year terms. So literally 2 years makes me more experienced than about half of my new colleagues who will be coming in. Each of us represents a district. There are 80 members of the Assembly, 40 members of the Senate. In the Assembly, each of us represents a district of about 450,000 people. And as Yolanda said, each of us is able to carry our own legislative agenda, pursue our own priorities. We don't work in a parliamentary kind of system where there's party direction necessarily in what we do. So this is a great opportunity for me to learn from so many of you who may have really valuable ideas that we can immediately put to work in California through legislation, if I can convince my colleagues to join with us in that. This is a great experience for me because most often in state government we don't get too much of an opportunity to interact with foreign leaders and be involved in foreign policy. That's usually the province only of the national government, and so much so, in fact, that many of you might have heard the Republican vice presidential candidate, Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, was recently asked about her foreign policy experience going into this national election, and she said, well, I'm the governor of Alaska, and we can see Russia from Alaska. And that was her foreign policy experience. And you might question whether or not that qualifies as foreign policy experience, but I think as a politician, if I were her, I think I also would have mentioned the other country that she can see from Alaska. So I hope that no one here was offended by Governor Palin's egregious omission. At the plenary session this morning, Terry Tamminen was speaking and used a phrase that I thought was so important that I want to reiterate it here today. He talked about the challenge of change. And I think that really underlies everything that we're talking about today, because we do live in incredibly challenging times right now, historically challenging times. We're seeing a global disruption, if not meltdown, of our credit and finance markets throughout the world. We're seeing environmental changes of a global dimension that are reaching crisis points. Whether it's climate change, the health of our oceans, and many others. We're seeing intensified global competition from newly industrialized nations that are, frankly, creating dramatic impacts on nations like Canada and the United States and our workforces. And all of these are seemingly immense challenges. But as I heard someone say recently, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. And having all of these global crises presenting themselves now, I believe, presents us with tremendous opportunities as well. Tremendous opportunities to rethink the way we do business, to address those crises in a way that's marketable to the rest of the world. And the people of our country may feel fear, they may feel unease over the state of affairs, but I think it's up to us to demonstrate to our people that there is hope and reason for optimism, and in fact, every opportunity to take advantage of the situation of flux that's going on in the world. And one example, I think, is energy policy. The Speaker has tasked me in the State Assembly to head a bipartisan working group to expand California's reliance on renewable energy. And as some of you may know right now, California currently has a policy that is expected to, a goal of achieving 20% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2010. Now, I'm sorry to say that's a goal that we're not going to make. For many reasons, but right now, as we're striving to meet that goal, we're also looking forward to 2020, and so I've been tasked with developing the policies that will allow us to get to actually a 33% renewable portfolio standard by 2020, and we're working very hard on that. So as I'm looking at these issues, it seems to me that we have maybe an unprecedented opportunity to really address the way we think about energy. First of all, in the United States, 8 days from now, we're going to elect a new president. And I hope that that new president will be Senator Obama. But whoever the new president will be, it is going to be a new president who actually respects science and is willing to look forward to a renewable energy future, as the current president has not. We're finally at a point where we're developing a global consensus where we've defeated the denialists who claim that climate change is not happening, and if it is happening, it's not a function of human processes. We have incredible volatility and vulnerability of our fuel sources now, and our dependence on fossil fuel is making people nervous to the point that they are far more willing now to look at making sacrifices that may be necessary to increase our reliance on renewable energy. And there's a growing political consensus, certainly in California among Republicans and Democrats alike, that we have to take this problem on head on. We have to lead the rest of the world in developing renewable sources of energy. And this is an opportunity that presents itself. I believe that if we do this, and if we take the steps necessary as CCSIP is trying to foster of research and development and delivery, we have an opportunity to allow the world to beat a path to our doorstep. Because as countries develop economically, as they realize the harm that they're doing to their own environment from an overdependence on coal, for example, there is going to be a worldwide marketplace for new energy sources, and there's no reason that we can't, as innovators in California and in Canada, lead the charge, lead that marketplace, and profit from it, even while we're saving our planet. California, I think, is uniquely positioned to take advantage of those opportunities because of who we are as a society. We are a state that throughout its history has been made up of entrepreneurs and risk takers. From the time of the 49ers who came to California during the gold rush of the 19th century, when they pulled up stakes and got onto stagecoaches and headed out here so that they could stake their claim to wealth, to even today, immigrants coming from around the world who see California as an opportunity to take a chance and make something, make a brighter future for their family. We're a state that celebrates creativity. And you certainly see that if you go into any restaurant in Los Angeles and talk to your wait staff, chances are pretty good that they're also an actor or a screenwriter or something else. And we're one of the few places where one day somebody is waiting tables and sharing with you the good idea they have for a story, and then the next day they are getting ready to walk down the red carpet at the Academy Awards. We're a state that has traditionally incubated